Shabbat Shalom. Hope everyone is ready for a restful and invigorating Shabbat. I want to share a lesson or a teaching from our Torah portion, which I think is quite beautiful and quite insightful. And that is the Torah portion, Re'eh, speaks about the concept of blessing. And it says, "Behold, I have placed before you the ideas of blessing and curse." And then it says, "Et habracha asher tishma'u El mitzvot Adonai Elohechem asher Anochi mitzaveh etchem hayom," that the blessing that you hearken to the commandments of the Lord your God that I command you today. And many read this verse as a cause and effect, that if you hearken to the commandments, if you listen to the mitzvot, then you'll receive blessing. The Or HaChaim HaKadosh offers a beautiful insight. And he says that the blessing is the ability to hear God's commandments, God's word. The blessing is the ability to listen. It's not that once we listen, then we get blessing. But there's blessing itself in the ability to hear, to listen, to understand on a deeper level. I read recently a story of the great 19th century sage, and Lithuanian sage, Rav Yitzchak Elchanan Spector, who was from Kovno, modern-day Kaunus, an extraordinary scholar and certainly an insightful human being. And he was asked a question, as many questions came to the great sages from a group of people in a local town, and the question was a simple halachic question. It was a question about the kashrut of a cow, and there was a cow that had been slaughtered, and they had found, once they had opened it up following the slaughter, they had found a lesion inside the cow, and they wanted to know if that lesion was sufficient, because sometimes there are some lesions that render something not kosher, and some lesions that are okay, that the animal is still okay, and they wanted to know if this particular lesion, as they had described it, was kosher or not. And the sage, reading this question, a kind of a dry halachic question, reading the question, understood that there was a subtext, because he wondered perhaps why these people weren't asking their local rabbi. And then after doing a little bit of digging, he discovered that the local rabbi was relatively new, and there was a group of people in the town that opposed that rabbi, and the rabbi had issued a ruling on this particular cow, and the ruling was a mistaken ruling. The rabbi made a mistake, as many human beings. One of the principles of Jewish theology is that humans are humans, and that we make mistakes, and that spiritual leaders are no less or more human than anyone else. And so the rabbi made a mistake and declared that this particular cow was kosher when indeed it was not. And the townspeople wanted to pounce on that mistake and sent the question to, seemingly in an innocent manner, sent the question to the greatest rabbi in the land. And the rabbi, Rav Yitzchak Elchanan Spector, determining that this question was really meant not to get a halachic ruling, but really to undermine the authority of the local rabbi, did something absolutely brilliant. He sat down and he wrote a response, a long response, as to why this cow was kosher, the wrong answer. He wrote and dissected the question from all different perspectives as to why this particular animal was kosher, and then sent that ruling to the townsfolk, put the letter in the mail, and sent it to the people who had asked him the question. Then Rav Yitzchak Elchanan Spector wrote a note that said, "I am mistaken. My logic was flawed. I apologize, but that cow is not kosher." And that note he sent by messenger, by express messenger, to the town, so that they received that note before they received the other note, meaning they received the note saying, the letter you're about to receive is mistaken, this animal is not kosher, and then a day, 2 days, 3 days later, they would receive the letter saying the animal is kosher and understand that was indeed mistaken. What Rabbi Yitzchak Elchanan Spector did was essentially he demonstrated that even a great sage, even someone as great and as learned and as scholarly as he, is capable of making a mistake. That's what he wanted to show them. He wanted to give them the right answer, that cow is not kosher and should not be consumed. But the method through which he did so was with the express intent to demonstrate that even he can make a mistake in his logic, and therefore don't be too harsh on the young rabbi who made a similar mistake in his reasoning. it's a beautiful example, I think, of the ability to listen closely, because that in of itself is a blessing. It's not that if we do the mitzvot, then we receive blessing, but there's blessing in the ability to hear within the chaos and the noise of life, to hear when people are crying out for help, to hear when help is needed, to hear when we can step in and offer assistance to others. That's one of the great blessings of I think this time, in all of the chaos, in all of the uncertainty, as we're all fixated on the news, we're all looking forward to a better day, we're all trying to make the best of very difficult times. But these times have also given us the ability to slow down and to listen. For many of us, we have time in a way, or our relationship with time is different during the coronavirus period. Whether it's when the day starts, when the day ends, what the responsibilities are, everything is just different. Not necessarily easier, not necessarily harder, but just different. And that recalibration gives us the ability for a moment to pause and to listen and to try to hear when others are crying out, even if they're not saying it to us directly, but to try to hear when we can step in and be of assistance. Hope everybody has a great Shabbat. Thank you for learning together, and looking forward to seeing everyone in person, please God, shortly. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom again. It's wonderful to have you back in my backyard. I've been taking you on a tour of some of the Zmirot of Shabbat this summer, and some of my favorite memories of singing Zmirot came from my years at George Washington University around the table at G.W. Hillel on Friday nights with many of my closest college friends. It was a fun time. It was a time for people to share Shabbat experiences from their childhoods and then create new ones together in this next phase of life. And one of the things that we used to do is to add some popular tunes to the Zmirot. It's not something that I regularly do in synagogue, everybody knows, but it's something that was fun with friends around the dinner table. And so I'll give you two fun examples this week. They're both for the same Zemer, Deror Yikra. One a little bit more melancholy, and one a little bit more wistful and hopeful. See if you recognize the tunes. I'll give them to you after I finish the couple of verses that I'll sing. Deror Yikra levenim bat, v'in sorchem kemo vavat, neim shimchem velo yushpat, shvu v'nuchu beyom Shabbat. Derosh navi ve'ulami, ve'ot yeshaseh imi, neta sorek betoch karmi, she'eshavat b'nei ami. Deroch pura betoch botzra, וגם בבל אשר גברה, נטות צרי באף עברה, שמע קולי ביום אקרא. That, of course, was Scarborough Fair by Simon and Garfunkel. And to finish off the last three verses of the song, I'll give you the Beach Boys. Elokim ten b'midbar har, hadas shita berosh tidhar, v'la mazhir, v'la nizhar, shelomim ten kemeinar. Adoch kamai kelkana, b'mog levav uvimgina, b'nahar chniv peh unmalena, לשוננו לחרינה דאי חוכמה לנפשך והיא כתר לראשך נצור מצוות קדושך שמור שבת קודשך. Try to find some fun ways to make Shabbat melodies and Shabbat table singing fun in your home. Shabbat Shalom to you all.